The reason I am making this video here today is because I want to do some DLC/roster predictions. I spin the face of people who don't want to be cool. But yeah, I'm gonna go above and beyond for this prediction because I don't only think that Carlito will be on the roster, but I think he'll be one of the 2K Showcase opponents for Cena that you're gonna play as you try to beat John Cena. Because obviously right now we're in the middle of this Triple H era, you know, this new era where a lot of people have came back since SummerSlam. We had, you know, Damage Control being created, Johnny Gargano's back, Candice LeRae back from pregnancy. We had Dexter Loomis make his main roster debut, Bronson Creed. But what's his name? Bronson. What did I just say? Sorry, what I was trying to say was Bronson Reed. I got mixed up with Brutus Creed in NXT, but we'll talk about them in a second. We'll talk about the Creed brothers, don't worry. Anyway, yeah, the point is we've had a lot of people show up on Triple H's Monday Night Raw and on his SmackDown and returning, you know, Hit Row, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux. There's been a bunch of these people. However, with that being said, one thing I will point out is that at the end of one of the trailers we got the other day on Monday Night Raw, there was Johnny Gargano. And so, obviously, he's going to be in the game, but he came back after SummerSlam. And then obviously, you know, with someone like Bronson Reed, he was basically going to be in 2K22 until he got released. Like, everything for him is in the game. And so Bray Wyatt as well, like, that's one of them things which we'll discuss in a second. That's an interesting situation. Bray Wyatt returned in October 8th at Extreme Rules 2022, right? And Bray Wyatt's one of these guys that they could quite easily put in the game. Like, you know, everything's been there. He's been on Next Gen before. They could. But with that being said, enough people love Bray Wyatt to where it's like, if they're smart and they want to make money, which is what they care about, the money, they know that enough people will want to play as Bray Wyatt and will want to get multiple versions of Bray Wyatt, that they're gonna put, you know, maybe like a 2014 Bray Wyatt in there. They're gonna put the current day Bray Wyatt, you know, Firefly Funhouse, The Fiend, you know, it's gonna be like a few different versions, which is good value for money, but I fear that he might not make it onto the roster. Now, with that being said, by the time you're seeing this video, he could have been in a trailer, he could have been announced. Hopefully I'm uploading this quick enough to the point where that doesn't happen, but you never know, it could happen and he could be just on the roster. I would like to see him just on the roster, but I'm gonna go ahead and make a bold prediction that Bray Wyatt will be in the first DLC pack for this game. Now, the next person that I'm gonna go ahead and predict for the DLC roster here in 2K23 is a woman that actually passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago. Way too young, by the way. It's Ashley Massaro. I don't know, I just feel like, you know, there's gotta be like a new women's legend in there, and I just feel like Ashley Massaro being in the game would be pretty cool. So, fingers crossed. I'd love to play. I would love to play as Ashley. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this next one right here. My next prediction for DLC is going to be actually Afa and Sika and Hawaii. Like, literally not that long ago, we've seen them on WWE TV, we've seen the rise of the bloodline, we've seen the rise of the tribal chief and everything, you know, the acknowledgement of Roman Reigns. It just makes sense that this would be the game where they are on the roster, and I think they'll do that in the form of DLC. Now, swiftly moving on, the next person I think is pretty much a lock to be in the game, whether she's DLC or not. She's been, you know, she's been around. I think she'll be in the game. It's Blair Davenport. One thing I will say about this 2K23 roster is that there's obviously going to be a lot of NXT 2.0 superstars on it. You know, people like Braun Breaker, Cora Jade, Nikita Lyons, Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane. Sorry, let me do that again. Gigi Dolan. Sorry, let me do that again. Gigi Dolan. Hey, let me tell you something about Gigi Dolan, okay? I'm gonna make sure that they, you know, I just hope that the scan they had for Gigi Dolan in 2K23, whether she's on main roster or she's DLC, I just hope that they did it accurately, you know? I just hope that it looks exactly as it does in real life. I hope it's accurate. I hope, you know, I'll go into highlight reel to check it and make sure it is accurate. I'll zoom in. I'll make sure it looks like it's supposed to look. And of course, I'm talking about her hair. I don't know what you thought I was talking about. Get your mind out the gutter, you sick freak. And as far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lita was not in 2K22. I think I remember being mad about that. But hopefully, because she had that match with Becky Lynch in Saudi Arabia, she had a little return run and everything heading into WrestleMania last year. Hopefully Lita is just on the roster, okay? She's one of my favorites. Just put her on the roster, okay? Now moving swiftly back for just a second to the Divas Stand portion of this video. Tori Wilson, Ashley Massaro, and Candice Michelle. I think maybe. I'm just saying. Oh, and Michelle McCool, by the way, and Layla. You know what? Michelle McCool. I want all 5 of them, okay? And you know what? I'm putting putting down the microphone. 6, Eve Torres. Where is she? Macho Man Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase, not a legend, but I think Ridge Holland will make his debut in this year's game. Obviously, he's been around forever at this point. Here's some other names that I'll go ahead and throw out there for 2K23, whether it's on roster or DLC again, but the Creed brothers, I briefly touched on them earlier. I think they're actually a lock for the main roster of the game. They've been around for more than long enough at this point. And for some reason, I low-key feel that Damon Kemp will make it into the game as well. Who are some other names? You know what would be fire? If Jillian Hall made it into the game. Can you imagine? You are my hero. Scarlett Bordeaux will be in there as well, hopefully playable as well. And for some reason, I'm turning into a bit of a diva stan because I'm gonna go ahead and say Melina should also be on the roster as well. You know, just give me all the divas. I don't even care. I actually kind of with that era. And by the way, I forgot to mention him earlier, but High Chief Peter Myveer, shout out to the multiverse because he was in an episode of that when I did that a few months ago. But yeah, High Chief Peter Myveer should be in the game as well. And you know what? While we're talking about the bloodline, I think, you know, we're gonna have the Wild Samoans. We're gonna have High Chief Peter Myveer, and you know what? I think we're gonna have Rocky Johnson as well. I think they're gonna go all out with this whole. They might just do a whole Bloodline DLC pack. Actually, that's a. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Oh, they could actually. That could be fire. You know, you throw in a couple retro versions of the Usos. You know, with new attires, retro Roman Reigns. You got Peter. You got Rocky. You got the Samoan. Ooh, with Solo Sikoa too. Hey, whoa, this could. Those NXT 2.0 names I mentioned, it is very much a thing of where, like, you know, like Tiffany Stratton, for example, could be DLC. I think she will be DLC, but at the same time, she might not be. Like, she debuted in December 21, so she might be on the game, she might not. Same goes for Roxanne Perez. They could easily make her a DLC and make her the star of a DLC, or they could put her on the game. Bron Breakker will be in the game. Like, I firmly believe he will just be on the roster because that makes sense. Someone like Cora Jade, I think it'll be interesting to see whether or not they got her updated in time for her heel persona, because I think that would be cool. And you know, one more person that I think I've low-key saved the best till last, okay? It's another Diva stan moment for me. You know, one of the D's in DDJ stands for Diva, apparently. Victoria should be in WWE 2K23. I ain't the lady to mess with. Woo!